Why, hello there, weary traveler. Welcome to my tavern. Just kidding, guys. It's Bearded Bricks, and I'm doing another set review. Today we have the 50th anniversary Dungeons and Dragons set, Lego Idea Set 056, and set number 21348, with 3,700 pieces and a handful of minifigures and small builds throughout this entire set. Lego has outdone themselves with this set. So first things first, we're going to go through all the figures. We're going to change up this week. We're going to go through all the figures and everything that's a mini build because there are a lot of them to get through. And then we'll go through the build of this set one section at a time. It breaks up into 4 sections. We have the tavern, the castle, the dungeon, and what I'm going to call like the courtyard. All right, guys, so we're going to be going from left to right here, and I'll be covering, obviously, the dragon first, and then we'll be stopping with the owlbear. So, first things first, Lego has released many dragons before this one. The mouth articulates slightly, the head moves fully left and right. The wings are Technic, so they can, move on their hinge points. So they do have a good array of movement, and then they can also go forward and backward. The legs, they all move forward and backward, full, like a 180 or like 210 degree of movement. Definitely opposable, definitely solid. The tail is the more rigid part of this. This part is okay, but these smaller pieces as it gets further down the tail are less likely to move or be opposable. But it's definitely a cool build, and you can actually stick this dragon, as you guys saw when I first started talking about this set. You can actually stick the dragon on the set, and it has no problems just sitting there, terrorizing your village. The next figure we're going to be going into is the Beholder. And this figure, I find I have some mixed emotions on. Some of the parts of this build are fully connected to the figure, and they look great. You can definitely tell what it is just by looking at it, even if you weren't a huge Dungeons and Dragons person. However, some of these tubes they use for the eyes happen to snap off quite often. So I find it quite frustrating to move him, but he is a very cool character that we did get to get. His mouth does move, sort of, does move, just opens and closes, that's about it. But definitely an awesome figure to see. I'm glad we got it. To the next beastie that we have here, we have the Displacer Beast. This character is very much, I would believe it was included because it was in Baldur's Gate. A lot of these characters, I believe that they included because Baldur's Gate blew up last year. And a lot of people will be very familiar with a lot of these monsters in this build. We have 6 opposable legs that do wiggle. They use the smaller droid legs or droid arms from the early 2000s, and they're in black. The tail moves, the tentacles on top do move backward and forward, and the head moves as well. But, it's cool. It's a cool Displacer Beast. I think it would have been neat if we got 2 smaller ones, but I'm not sure how Lego would have achieved that. The next beast that is my diehard favorite here is the Mimic Chest from the top of the tavern. Just pretty cool. You guys can see the little tongue in here, and it reminds me a lot of the gift with purchase that we had. I think it translated really well, and I'm just glad that both of these mimics do exist in their great forms that they have. Putting the mimic down. The next 2 characters we have here are going to be the skeletons and the myconoids you guys can see here on the lower level. The myconoids are actually really interesting because they actually do, pulling off the top piece here, they actually do have a face. They are not the prettiest characters, but they have little arms and little legs. You guys can see if I just move my hands like this, and they're quite cute. They don't translate quite as well to their Baldur's Gate equivalents, but they are neat characters to get. I'm glad that for only 2 pieces, they got a custom mold, custom face print, and they just look nice. You get 2 of them that just hide underneath with all the other mushrooms. You get 3 skeletons, one with a dagger, a sword, and a crossbow. Pretty cool. I mean, they're just your standard Lego skeletons. We've had them forever. The next figure that we have here, gotta wiggle them out, is the Gelatinous Cube. This character is interesting because, you know, how else are you going to really do this? But it reminds me of like Load the Cube that you get with the Avengers Tower. Um, but inside, you guys can see there's some gems in there. There's like a frying pan of someone who got eaten. Maybe the cook from the tavern wandered in here. Um, but you can see there's bones in there. If I give it a full rotate, there's a couple hands and limbs in there, and they're just suspended inside the cube. So I think they did a pretty good job with just like the, you know, handful of pieces they could have done with this. It would have been nice to see Lego make a fully, like they use like a Duplo block, like one of those blocks for kids that are 4 and up. For this, which is a custom face print, but still pretty neat that we got this. So going through the main figures that we have here. So the first one we have here is the elf mage or the elf warlock, whatever you want her to be. She can fit that role. She has the attire and everything for it. She has a nice shiny silver cape. She has a chest piece, like a kind of like the officers like piece that Lego used to have for some of their older Knight or like Revolutionary War sets. But this time it is for D&D, and she has nice pointed shoulders. She has a book with some printed piece inside of it. We don't know what it is. And we have a beautiful scepter with a diamond or a blue diamond or blue encrusted gem in the top of it. Something to mention, I'm not going to be going through all the faces for these characters, but every single one of these characters do have a different range of emotion. In some of my previous videos, I mentioned they're going to be making a CMF series for these figures. And also, she has elf ears. Like I said, she's an elf mage. So it's nice that we have custom head molds for these characters, but it is really nice to see Lego going the extra mile to give these characters those extra emotions that they can use in D&D to express how their character feels. The next character here is the rogue character that we have here, and in this case it is a goblin rogue. 2 daggers and a blue cape. I do feel like they did a disservice to this character just because they only have one like facial feature on both heads. So as where everyone else gets 4, she gets 2. But, you know, obviously if she has a cloak on, she has a cape. They went the extra mile to make the figure nice. Torso printing and back printing and leg printing, which I think is pretty cool. And obviously if you wanted to mix and match these characters and change the head so that this character did have more emotion, you absolutely could do that. And who's to say that maybe this is just a one-off, and in the CMF series when we actually get those, maybe the goblins will have 2 faces and those as well. The next one we have here is the Dwarven Cleric. The Dwarven Cleric does have a silver hammer. He has a nice beard and like a very old man attire here. And he has a little wand so that he can go and heal his party members from all of the enemies that they're going to have to fight to get to the Dragon's Keep. We have leg printing, front printing, and back printing, but definitely has the smaller legs they use. And I think it's really cool that these legs actually are articulable. Most of the time when they give these smaller legs to figures, they can't move their legs. The next character that I think is one of my favorites from the set that I just didn't see heavily advertised is the Dragonborn. We get the first Dragonborn figure we get to see, at least. Pretty cool. They have 2 of the like horn pieces that stick into the back of their head, and then it's just a completely brand new head mold. And I think it looks pretty cool. I mean, it doesn't look goofy in the slightest. We got front printing here on the chest, and back printing, and obviously leg printing throughout. Nothing on the arms, but definitely a cool figure. I'm excited to see the other colors of the Dragonborns we get in the CMF series. And then we have the Halfling Fighter, which has a shield, and she has a sword, and then a nice big half torso plate of armor as well. She does have printing on the front and back, but the torso covers most of it. But pretty cool character. I mean, you could give her an axe, or if you want to give her 2 swords, or many of the different weapons. Obviously, she as a fighter, she can use all of them. And then the last character here is like the evil wizard, chaotic evil character mentioned in the D&D guide. Now, this character is not mentioned in the book. I had to go through the CMF or the PDF file that Lego printed out for this character, there is a character sheet for this one. So they could be a player character, they could be an evil character that they have to fight. But definitely pretty cool. We get this nice, like, broken up cape, this green electric piece, and then obviously a very evilish looking staff. And this character also does have different emotions as well. So it can be bad, like I said, or it can be a player character. And then the last character we have, again, there are a ton. There is the Owlbear. The Owlbear has articulable legs. No mouth that opens, unfortunately, but the legs are really cool. It's nice that they included this character. The reason why I believe a lot of these characters made it in, like I said, is from Baldur's Gate, and everyone loved the Owlbear, so it is nice that they put the extra effort in to pick characters and creatures that many of their fans and fans of D&D would know at first glance. There are some other characters that go through in this set, but they're not very interesting. But there's spiders in this set. There's a large Ent that doesn't have much movement at all. He just has a face on him. And obviously, like, the tentacle monster in the water. You know, those little things I'm not going to go into, but they do exist in this set. Alrighty, so going through the sections here, we're going to start with the tavern. So all of these sections are attached via Technic, very much like any of the Lego Icon series. So just give me 1 second. So the first set that we have here is, or at least the first build that you're going to put together, which is like the first 10-ish bags, is the tavern. It has several areas that open up, so pulling off the roof here and running this around for you, you guys can see that we have a little bedroom up top here, which has not one, but 2 mimics. You can see we have the chest, and then the bed itself actually doubles as another mimic. Which I thought was really interesting, you know, thinking someone like a weary traveler is going to rent a room, go upstairs, and then get eaten. And then the following morning, the tavern person, or whoever is running in the inn, is going to go upstairs to check them out, and they're going to be gone. So, neat little thing to think about when you're building this set. Pulling this top part off, it just comes off really easily. All right, guys, so just going to the bottom floor of this building, this is called the In Plain Sight Tavern. It does have a printed piece here on the front, has a door that opens. We have a nice little pier, as you guys can see, along the front side. And then on the interior, we have some weapons, we have some drinks, a nice area for a bartender or a barkeep to stand. We have a hearth in here in the corner, and there's even a barrel that has some ale inside of it in the corner. So tons of detail in throughout this build. Additionally, on the inside of these crates here on the pier, the adventurers decide to open them. There are fruit and vegetables inside that they can, but it's a good build for the first step of it. And then obviously to put it all back together, much like the other series that we've gone through on this channel, they just go right back on there and it is ready to be attached to the rest of your build. The next build we're going to be going through, I'm going to skip in or out of order here. Pushing the tavern aside, we have the tower. So with the tavern, or the tower, this is the last build that you put together. This is like bags like 15 or 14 to 22 or 23. It is a absolute undertaking to put together. As you can see, you know, from top to bottom, there is a menagerie of detail, from the stonework on the front of the build to the fire and the stairs to, I'm gonna give it a quick 360 for you guys to see here. And just even doing one rotation of this set, you can see that there's interiors all throughout this whole build, and you got the dungeon area down here at the bottom with the weird like almost alien type plant or vegetation, where you could have a beholder or skeletons down here defending the stairs. In the middle section here, you guys can see that there is the evil, like, mutated cat creature. I am drawing a blank on the name because I am on the spot. But they're in Baldur's Gate. It's a very prominent enemy you fight. And then going further up to the top of the tower, where you would presumably prepare for your battle with the dragon, We have one of the player characters here in his staff and his like green Emperor Palpatine lightning ability. Or I believe this is the sorcerer or the warlock. And then turning it one more time, you guys can see why the dragon is defending this tower. We have a dragon egg up here as well in this green enchanted circle on top of the tower. And obviously there's a ton of details in here. There's books, there's papers, there's like so much detail crammed into these, and that anyone who wants to put a story into this, Lego has developed a story online you guys can download. It's a PDF. If you weren't able to buy this on the first when it was released, you can always download it and run it with your friends. I've gone through and read through most of it, and you can run it as like a board game, or you can run it like full Dungeons and Dragons. So it's nice that they've included that as well for people who do pick up this set. And then obviously if you want to get your hands on this easier, you guys can actually take this part here and remove it, so you have easier ability to get into this section in the middle. The stairs do rotate, so just be careful when you guys are doing that. This door actually has a secret. If I were to open this door here, you'll see there's an axe that swings out. So there's a ton of little traps and hidden enemies and a ton of things in this build that just give it a ton of life. An additional thing is, like, you see this painting here that's on this side of the building. This is actually a photo for the inside of the tavern. So they work together put together, they work together separated, but they really put a lot of thought into these builds. Now, going through the last build that we have is the courtyard. This courtyard has, just like the tower, you start getting a little bit of overlap from both of the previous builds. That's why I'm covering this one last. So we have the water and the beach area from the tavern, and then we start getting the rocks and the creatures and the wildlife and the greenery from the tower. And I think that Lego did a really, really good job. Like, the video I hope is doing it justice, but there is the way that the terrain goes from like a built up like stonework area here with the smaller pieces crossing over into the greenery, and then we have the Ent and the owlbear and all the spiders, and then we even deep down inside here, I'm gonna try to get it so you guys can see it. Inside here you got these little mushroom people called myconids. There's 2 of them. There's also smaller mushrooms in here. Rotating the set around for you guys, there's a way for the adventurers to climb up. There's a shield, there's tons of weapons and loot that they can find in here if they were to go through and do that. Continuing on around here, you guys can see that inside the very bottom here, we have another dungeon. And there's more weapons and treasure and other stuff deep inside that, you know, you might have some issues getting to, but, you know, it is there. And then we also have the tentacle monster out here in the water, small little details again. And then you're like, oh, well, you know, Bearded, how do I get into this part if I'm looking at the front side? There is a little, if I grab this part right here and lift this up, there's another trap with a skeleton with a sword. And additionally, you can get right on into the interior there. So, you know, there are a ton of ways for people to get into and interact with this set. And then if you want to put it back, you just take this, and it has to go in carefully, because not everything fits precisely the same way, but you just push it back in there and it's good to go. So, final thoughts. Is this set everything it's made up to be? Like I said, mentioned in this set, when you guys did buy it on the first, you guys do get this gift with purchase for the Mimic. They've been having a lot of back order issues, so if you did get one in your cart, you are guaranteed to get one. So just hang in there. Mine came in like this week. Anyway, so this set is, there are some parts about this set that I feel are a little loose, or some parts fall off a lot, but with a set like this, that I would hold even a candle to the Avengers Tower or the Daily Bugle, or some of my other more expensive sets that are more of like a display piece. I find that this set really finds that like niche between a play set and a display set. Not only does it come with a lot of figures that I wish other themes look at this set with envy, just because of the sheer amount of stuff that Lego jam-packed into this set. Well, I mean, what can I say? The Displacer Beast is awesome. The Owlbear is absolutely worth it just for that. The Dragon is awesome. The Beholder is like a 5 in my opinion. I may go through and mod that figure so that the parts don't fall off, which is definitely something you can do. All the builds from the tower to the tavern to the coastal castle area are, like I said, jam-packed full of detail, and just like you're gonna have to go through this set, or your friends will, multiple times to leave no stone unturned, more or less, when playing with this set. I'm excited to see what mods will make, extensions or add-ons or stuff like that. I'm really hoping Lego continues with this theme, because years ago Lego had a knight theme that everyone loved, and they kind of just sunset. But being that they have the Barbarian Village and some of the other sets that have released recently, this set has a really good chance to blow up into a really large theme for Lego. And if they continue to support it like they did with this set, I think it could be incredible. They could release part packs for additional D&D campaigns or more pieces, or the sky is the limit with a set like this, or a theme. So I am over the moon with this set. I think it's awesome. It's definitely worth the money. I would say if you guys have any points you guys can use to make it cheaper, do that. Otherwise, buying it for the $370 price point is not going to hurt you. In fact, I think you're getting more for your value than you first look at the box with. But I'd love to hear what you guys think down in the comments. As always, I've been Bearded Bricks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below, hit the notification bell so you guys can see all future videos that involve D&D and Lego. And I'll see you guys in the next one.